Well, I've got so much out of the sermon today, Pastor, but in a practical way, what do you find it takes the most courage to practice this kind of love? Is it with people you're close to or people that you're farther away from?
Yeah, that's a great question. It really is of just, we get asked that a lot of who is harder to love, those that are in your sphere of influence that you're really, really close with, and that family, friends, coworkers, or those that might be more distant from you, that you don't have as much history with. And, the most common answer, and maybe the most simple, is that it's obviously harder to love those that you're closer with. And in one sense, I believe that that's true. They know you the best. They know all your warts and pimples and the things that you struggle with. They know your personality quirks and things of that nature. So things like forgiveness and patience and all that aren't going to come as easy within that kind of context. And so one could make the argument that it's harder for you to love those. At the same time, there's also an easierness, if that's a word, that goes along with that too, though, in the sense that you're more motivated to love those that you're in close relationship with. You care about them. You have history with them. You've seen God work in their lives. You hear God's call to love them in a special and unusual way. And so I think there's also an aspect in which there's more motivation and it's easier to love folks that you're really close with. I think one of the real hard ways to love those that you're not close with is that, again, we don't have the investment in their lives that we have with those that we're close to. In other words, it's very easy to be dismissive of a service provider, of somebody that you meet on the plane, of somebody that you're in line with. And yet it's in those types of environments where Christians, especially today, are not known to be the most loving, kind, and patient. And so I would argue that it's right at those times where, though those contexts are very important, that the stakes are really high for how we treat others. As the pastor of a large church here in Scottsdale, it's really kind of funny because there'll be contexts that I'm in, say in line at a store or something, which I'll be losing my patience a little bit. I'll be very, very tempted to snap out or to be snippy or to say something unkind. And all of a sudden somebody will say, "Hey, aren't you the pastor at Scottsdale Bible Church?" And I'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I did not say anything that would have been an embarrassment to Christ." Now, that's easy for me because I pastor a church. But all of us should have that mindset every moment of every day, that somebody might say, "Hey, aren't you a follower of Jesus? And aren't you somebody who's called to love and demonstrate love all the time?" And so I think that though both contexts are hard, that they present different challenges in each one, but all the challenges come to a head in basically this is what we learned today, and that is that we are to love patterned after Jesus' love for us. That when we experience His mercy, we divert that mercy to others. When we experience His compassion, we divert that compassion. We experience His grace, His kindness, His forgiveness, His patience. We divert that to those around us. If we could just learn to do that, then whether they are near or whether they're far away, man, would we have quite a witness.